Here's my creative recipe. Steel cut oats encrusted squash. We're starting with some very unusual squash growing in my garden. I call them promiscuous squash because they're a blend of perhaps a pumpkin and zucchini. Got carried away last summer. Here they are. Okay, the squash is in the kitchen now. My next step is to cut it into strips. Well, here we have the squash cut open. You can see it's somewhat like a zucchini, somewhat like a pumpkin. There are the seeds. So I'm going to cut it into strips. I'm going to cover these strips with a lovely oatmeal crust. Okay, now my next step is to get the crust ready. I'm going to use, of course, the steel cut oats to give it a nice texture. And for flavoring, I'm going to use some paprika, a little hot mustard, just because I like hot mustard, but that's not essential. Some Parmesan cheese, a little seasoning salt, and of course, olive oil to coat it. Okay, I have the proportions ready. I'm going to use about a cup of oats, half of it for the first round and the other half for the final coating. A third of a cup of oil, third of a cup of cheese, about a teaspoon of seasoning salt, and I like paprika, so I'm going to go with a whole tablespoon of paprika, and about a half a teaspoon, half of hot mustard. So I've mixed in the ingredients. I saved half of the oats for the second coating, and put all of the spices inside, and I'm just going to mix it up. This is going to be what I'm going to coat the squash with. Give it a little mixing. I'm going to be taking spoonfuls and painting, coating the squash. Notice I have the squash kind of like little boats here. Fill each one with a light little coat. Coated, filled in the top of the squash. And I'm going to sprinkle now the remaining oats along the top to give it a little more crispy taste. Okay, now I'm going to pop this in the oven, 350. Okay, the squash look like they're just about done. And now for the test taste. Alex is going to cut a piece. Be my tester.
I like the oatmeal, so I get the piece with the oatmeal.
And oatmeal is good for you too.